There was a time she thought it was over. Her heart had shattered into pieces too small to gather. The people she trusted became the reason she wept. The dreams she once carried so proudly now lay buried under the rubble of disappointment. And in that silence, when no one called, when no one cared, she thought Allah had forgotten her. But what she did not know was this: the breaking was not punishment, it was preparation. The silence was not absence. It was construction, because when Allah loves you deeply, He will first separate you from everything that weakens you. He will strip away false strength so He can rebuild you with divine strength. She cried in the night, and Allah listened, not to her words but to her heart. Every tear was a seed in the soil of her destiny, and though she couldn't see it, something sacred was growing inside her pain. Listen to me, there are some seasons when Allah does not rebuild you in public. He hides you, He silences the noise around you, because restoration requires privacy. Even a butterfly transforms in darkness before it flies in beauty. When people left her, Allah was not taking away support, He was removing scaffolds. When doors closed, He was not denying her, He was redirecting her. When her strength failed, He was not punishing her, He was teaching her that real power begins where human ability ends. Now she stands not bitter, but better. Not wounded, but wise. Her scars are no longer signs of pain, but symbols of grace. The same voices that mocked her are now silent, because what Allah builds, no storm can destroy. So when you see her smile now, understand, it is not pride. It is testimony. She knows what it feels like to break, and what it means to be rebuilt. She knows that what Allah restores, He multiplies. And she knows that every delay, every betrayal, every heartbreak was a divine tool in the architect's hand. There are moments in life when everything seems to fall apart, when the very things we depended on, the people we trusted, and the dreams we built with hope begin to crumble before our eyes. It feels as though the ground beneath us has vanished, leaving only confusion, pain, and silence. Yet in those moments of deep breaking, something sacred is happening. It is not destruction, it is divine reconstruction. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, does not break you to destroy you. He breaks you to rebuild you stronger, wiser, and purer than before. You see, sometimes we build our strength on things that cannot last: people, approval, comfort, or control. We become attached to what was meant to be temporary, and without realizing it, we start drawing our identity from what can fade. Then, when Allah sees that the foundation of our strength is fragile, He begins to remove what we thought we couldn't live without. The process feels painful, even cruel, but it is mercy in disguise. Allah does not take away what you need. He takes away what is limiting who you can become. When Allah allows something to break in you, He is not punishing you. He is refining you. He removes pride through disappointment. He teaches patience through waiting. He grows compassion through suffering. Every heartbreak, every loss, every silent night when you felt unseen, it was all part of a divine blueprint. The same way a sculptor chips away at a block of stone to reveal beauty within, Allah sometimes allows pain to carve away the parts of us that were never meant to stay. The breaking is not the end. It is the beginning of a new becoming. Think about this. A seed must break before it grows. The outer shell must split apart so that life can emerge. If the seed could speak, it might say, "I am being destroyed." But in truth, it is being transformed. The breaking is simply the process through which purpose takes shape. Likewise, when Allah allows your plans to fall apart, He is not denying you a future, He is preparing a better one. What you call loss, He calls alignment. What you see as rejection, He sees as redirection. Every time you are broken, you are given the chance to rebuild on truth. You are forced to let go of illusions and depend fully on Allah. In that surrender, real strength is born. Because true strength is not the ability to avoid pain, it is the ability to stand again after pain. It is not pride that rebuilds you, it is faith. And when Allah becomes your foundation, nothing can shake you again. There are some lessons that only the broken understand, lessons of humility, trust, and peace that cannot be taught by comfort. Brokenness has a strange way of showing you who you really are, and more importantly, who Allah has always been to you. It strips away noise until only truth remains. And when He finally rebuilds you, you will realize that what was lost was never needed, and what remains is unshakable. So if you are in a season where life feels shattered, don't despair. The breaking is not your ending, it is your rebuilding. Allah is taking away what was weak to replace it with what is divine. He is strengthening your foundation, purifying your purpose, and preparing you for something greater. One day you will look back and realize that every tear was necessary, every loss was direction, and every breaking was a blessing that made you stronger than you ever imagined. Pain is one of life's greatest teachers. It is the silent classroom where the most powerful lessons are learned, not through comfort, but through discomfort, not through ease, but through endurance. Every heartbreak, every rejection, every silent moment that leaves you questioning your worth, carries within it a hidden blessing meant to grow you into who you were always meant to become. Pain, when seen through the eyes of faith, is not the end of your story. It is the refining fire that reveals your strength. When life wounds you, it is easy to believe that you are being punished or forgotten. You ask yourself why the people you love turned away, why your dreams failed despite your effort, and why your prayers seem unanswered. But what if those moments were never meant to break you, only to shape you? What if the silence you feel is not absence, but divine protection? Sometimes Allah removes voices from your life so you can finally hear His whisper. He allows your heart to be emptied so it can be filled with something far greater than what you lost. Heartbreak often feels like death, the death of love, trust, or hope. But in truth, it is rebirth. The pain of losing what you once held dear creates space for something purer, stronger, and more aligned with your destiny. When someone leaves, it might be Allah's way of clearing your path for someone or something better. What feels like rejection is often redirection. The doors that close are not walls, they are signs pointing you toward a higher place. Every disappointment hides a divine appointment, waiting for the right time to be revealed. Silence, too, has its purpose. When Allah becomes quiet, it does not mean He is gone. It means He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating a plan that your eyes cannot yet see. Growth happens in silence, just like a seed grows underground, hidden from sight, until the time is right to bloom. Pain trains your patience, strengthens your endurance, and teaches you how to find peace even when nothing seems certain. It strips away false dependencies and reveals the power of surrender. Every person who has ever risen to greatness has walked through seasons of pain. You cannot develop wisdom without wounds. You cannot build depth without disappointment. Pain stretches your heart and expands your capacity for empathy and compassion. It teaches you how to value peace, how to recognize real love, and how to walk with humility once the storm passes. Sometimes the very thing that breaks you is what makes you beautiful, not in a way the world sees, but in a way that heaven recognizes. Rejection may feel personal, but it is often protection. Allah knows the conversations you did not hear, the traps you did not see, and the intentions that were hidden behind smiles. So when He removes something or someone, it is not cruelty, it is care. Every unanswered prayer is either a blessing delayed or a disaster prevented. And when you finally reach what was meant for you, you will understand why certain things never worked out. The purpose of pain is transformation. It is to teach you to depend less on people and more on peace. It is to remind you that no heartbreak can destroy what Allah intends to heal. Pain is not there to make you bitter, it is there to make you better. when you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? The meaning begins to unfold. One day, when you look back, you will see that every heartbreak was a lesson in love, every rejection was a step toward purpose, and every silence was the space Allah used to build your strength. Pain never comes to stay, it comes to shape. And when it leaves, it always leaves behind a stronger, wiser, more peaceful version of you. True healing is not loud. It does not announce itself, nor does it seek applause. It happens quietly, in moments when no one is watching, in the stillness between you and Allah. In a world that glorifies visibility, where everyone wants to be seen, heard, and validated, Allah often chooses to heal you in private. Because real restoration is sacred, and sacred things grow in silence. The world sees transformation as an event, but with Allah, it is a process. He takes you away from noise, from distractions, from people who misunderstand your pain, and He draws you into a season of divine isolation, not to punish you, but to rebuild you from the inside out. There are seasons when Allah will hide you. You may not be on the stage you once dreamed of. Your phone may stop ringing, your circle may shrink, and your plans may seem to stand still. But what looks like pause is actually preparation. When Allah hides you, it is because He is working on something that cannot be exposed too soon. The caterpillar must disappear into the cocoon before it becomes a butterfly. That darkness is not the end, it is the place of transformation. So when Allah draws you into solitude, it means He is planting something in you that requires quiet to grow. In private, Allah begins the deep work that no one else can do, the healing of your heart, the rebuilding of your peace, the renewal of your mind. He addresses the hidden wounds that your smile has been hiding, the fears you never spoke of, the disappointments you buried under strength. It is in these quiet moments that He rewires your spirit, teaching you to let go of control and to trust His timing. When He silences the world around you, He wants you to hear Him clearly, because His voice is rarely found in chaos. It is found in calm. Many people want public elevation, but they do not want private purification. Yet the truth is, without the hidden season of healing, public blessing becomes a burden. Allah does not elevate broken foundations. He heals first, then He promotes. So when you find yourself withdrawn, when nothing seems to move, remind yourself that this is not rejection, this is restoration. He is removing the noise that distracts you, the habits that weaken you, and the relationships that drain you, so that when He presents you again to the world, you will not be fragile, you will be fortified. Private restoration is not glamorous, it is lonely. It is full of tears that no one sees and prayers that no one hears. But that is exactly what makes it powerful, because when you come out of that place, you no longer depend on validation to feel valuable. You no longer chase attention to feel loved. You carry a quiet strength that no storm can shake, a peace that cannot be explained, and a light that cannot be hidden. There is a reason Allah restores in private, it protects the process. Not everyone would understand your healing journey. Not everyone deserves access to your becoming. So He shelters you, not because you are weak, but because you are sacred. And when the time is right, when the wounds have turned into wisdom and the scars have become stories, He will reveal you again, not as the same person who went into the storm, but as someone reborn through it. So do not despise the quiet season, do not fight the silence. That is where you are being rebuilt. That is where strength is born. True healing does not happen under applause, it happens in surrender. And when you finally rise, the world will see the light, but only you will know the depth of the darkness from which Allah pulled you out. When life breaks you, it rarely returns you to the same place. Because when Allah rebuilds you, He never restores you to what you were, He elevates you beyond where you have ever been. What was once your weakness becomes your wisdom. What was once your pain becomes your power. The breaking was never meant to reduce you, it was meant to refine you. And when Allah finishes His work in you, you don't just recover, you rise. Many people fear brokenness because it feels like loss. But what they don't understand is that breaking is often the doorway to brilliance. The old version of you, the one built on fear, pride, or comfort, cannot carry the greatness Allah is preparing for you. So He allows the shaking. He permits the storm. He lets the things you depended on fall apart, not because He wants to destroy you, but because He wants to rebuild you with stronger foundations. Every crack in your life is an entry point for His light. Every ending is an invitation to transformation. When Allah rebuilds, He doesn't patch up what was broken. He reconstructs it into something far greater. Think of gold, it must go through fire to be purified. Think of the seed, it must break to release life. Think of the sunrise, it follows the darkest part of the night. This is how Allah works. He takes what seemed ruined and turns it into something radiant. What others saw as your downfall, He turns into your testimony. And when people look at you again, they no longer see a victim, they see victory written all over your story. Brokenness teaches you what success never could. It humbles you, grounds you, and makes you depend on Allah in ways you never did before. You stop chasing validation and start seeking alignment. You stop performing strength and start embodying peace. You stop fighting for control and start trusting divine timing. And in that surrender, Allah begins to elevate you, not always publicly at first, but deeply, internally, where no one else can see. He rebuilds your mindset, your faith, your patience, your purpose. And once He's done with the inside, the outside begins to reflect it. The beauty of divine rebuilding is that you don't come out as who you were before you come out as someone new. The pain that once made you cry now gives you compassion. The losses that once crushed you now make you wise. The rejection that once broke your heart now strengthens your boundaries. Allah does not just heal what was damaged, He transforms what was weak into strength. He takes your story of struggle and turns it into a message of resilience. When Allah rebuilds, elevation is inevitable. Because He does not restore you just to survive, He restores you to shine. You will notice that the people who once looked down on you will look up to you, not because you sought revenge, but because you allowed Allah to vindicate you through transformation. He doesn't just give you back what you lost, He gives you more than you could imagine. More peace, more clarity, more strength, more purpose. That is what happens when you surrender your broken pieces to the one who knows how to create beauty from ashes. So don't be afraid of being broken. Don't resist the process of rebuilding, because your lowest point is often the foundation for your highest rise. When Allah rebuilds you, He doesn't just make you whole again, He makes you unshakable. You become proof that pain can birth power, that endings can create beginnings, and that when Allah elevates you, no one can bring you down. Brokenness is not the end of your story. It's the chapter where brilliance begins. When Allah rebuilds you, He never returns you to who you once were. He elevates you beyond anything you have ever known. The pain that broke you becomes the path that builds you. Every tear, every disappointment, and every silent night you endured was not wasted. It was shaping something greater inside you. Allah does not simply mend what was shattered, He transforms it. What was once your weakness becomes your wisdom. What was once your loss becomes your lesson. He removes the old version of you that was built on fear, pride, or comfort, and replaces it with strength, clarity, and purpose. Brokenness feels like an ending, but it is actually the birthplace of brilliance. It strips away illusions and forces you to discover your true foundation. When everything else falls, you realize that what remains is what truly matters: faith, peace, and trust. Through the breaking, Allah purifies your heart and redirects your focus. You learn that elevation often begins in isolation, and that before Allah takes you higher, He first grounds you deeper. And when He finally rebuilds you, you rise not just restored, but renewed. The things that once destroyed your peace now build your strength. The people who once wounded you unknowingly helped shape your growth. You come out wiser, calmer, and more powerful, not because life became easier, but because you became stronger. That is the beauty of divine rebuilding. Allah doesn't return you to your old level. He lifts you to a new one. Your pain becomes your platform, your scars become your story, and your journey becomes proof that when Allah rebuilds you, He doesn't just make you whole, He makes you unstoppable.